Hey, how you guys doing? So earlier this evening, I went to the city commissioners meeting, and I was censored and removed during general public comment. I was escorted out by the police at the order of the mayor. Her name's Mayor Courtney Shipley, and I went back and I watched the video of my general public comment, and then also after I was removed, they took a 10-minute recess and came back and resumed general public comment, and three of my friends spoke, and I just got done watching that. And what I'm upset about, I'm not upset that I was removed like that. I mean, it's not the first time that I've been removed from a meeting, and it won't be the last time that I'll be removed from a meeting. That's just the way that it is. So I ain't worried about that. But what I am worried about, and what does have me mad, is going back and watching that Mayor Shipley just sit up there just like a total dictator, interrupting and being so arrogant and smug and condescending, and making the determination on what the citizens are saying, whether or not they can continue to say or not. And I'm going to show that video here when I'm done talking as well, and you can check it out. And if that stuff don't make you mad, if that stuff don't make you go, are we living in America, or where are we living? Who does this lady think she is, dictating up there on her high horse like that? Then I don't know what to tell you, man. You're not an American, and definitely not a Republican. You're definitely, and you're not an American, period. I mean, just it is infuriating to sit there and watch her just assume what we're gonna say, and then immediately just interject and stop and censor based on what she thinks we're about to say, and she can make the determination whether or not you can proceed to talk or not. And she stopped on all kinds of issues. So like, somebody brought up, one of my friends was talking about masks, and she's like, we don't have control over the masks. It's like, bullshit, you don't, lady. You have dictated whether or not we can wear masks for the last 2 years. Don't give us that shit about how you have nothing to do with that. She made another example. She stopped and made a point that we have, one of my friends was talking about the border, and she stopped and made a point to say, we don't have control over the border, whether it's the border with Canada or the border with Mexico. And it's like, well, that might be the case, but Lawrence is trying to make itself a sanctuary city, and if we get a lot of illegals coming up here, then yeah, that is city business. And so that's what makes me so mad, and it's made me so mad about, over the last month, where I've been making videos on here talking about how the city commission has been trying to censor general public comment over this past month, and they kicked around some ideas and whatnot, and they settled on being able to restrict what we say based on this germaneness. And that is what has made me so mad, because it's such a slippery slope that they get to decide what is and is not related to the business of the city during general public comment. And so, then because they can decide that, if they don't like you and they don't like what you're saying, or it's making them look bad or making them uncomfortable, then they can just interject and say, no, you can't say that. It has nothing to do with city business. And that's censorship. And again, if that don't fire you up, I don't know what will. It hasn't fired the Republicans up around here, and it's been so sad and disheartening to see that nobody is raising a stink about this. It seems like it's just me and my three friends that joined me tonight to raise a stink about what they're doing. This is one thing that it should slice through the political divide. This should be something that unites us. There's no way we can stand by and allow this to happen. And I mean, just check out the video. You'll see how this mayor just sits up there like a little dictator, and is just so power hungry, and just gets to determine what is and is not based on whether or not she likes you and whether or not she wants to hear you and what you have to say. And so for me, when I went up there and spoke, I had followed a guy who was the first one to speak during general public comment, and he had gotten up there and he had said, well, there is an easy way for the citizens to get around whether or not something is germane to the business of the city. And basically all they have to do is they have to just say, what I'm about to say, I'd like you to declare that as, or consider declaring it as a proclamation. And then therefore it's city business. And he gave a couple of examples. So for example, he talked about how in the past the city made a proclamation for some Star Wars event, and then another example he used is they also made a proclamation for some oil and gas pipeline that It didn't go through Lawrence. It didn't even go through Kansas. It went through another state. And because citizens had gone up there and talked during general public comment and requested this city consider these proclamations made, the city went ahead and made those proclamations, even though they had nothing at all to do with the city. And so he was saying, if you just come up here and you say, I'd like you to consider this to be a proclamation, then by default it falls into city business. And so when he was done speaking, I was the next one to speak, and I went up there and I just started giving some numbers about the way things were on the last day that Trump was in office compared to the way things are today. And I was gonna bring it around. I was gonna wrap it around to my campaign and the Democrat that I'm running against, and how he raised our taxes, and then also how those figures and stats that I was talking about, how that ties into the city, and how they've also contributed to the increase in rent around here and taxes around here. But we got about 30 seconds into my speech, and you'll see the mayor, she just interrupts me and starts saying that has nothing to do with city business, and I can't talk about it. And at that point, it was on, man. I wasn't going to have that shit. And I said, hey, I'm just trying to make this a proclamation. I'd like you to proclaim that, something like, Democrats are asinine. And her and I just start going back and forth over it. And she eventually has the police escort me out of here. And again, there's a lot of issues with this, and one of the issues is now the thought police as well. So you could start your 3 minutes of general public comment on one issue that you aren't necessarily going to wrap around or tie together to the business of the city until your last sentence at the 3 minute mark. You could talk the whole time and then tie it together. But if they stop and they interrupt you and they just say, hey, that has nothing to do with the city, they're basically saying, we know what you're going to say and we don't like it. And they really have no idea what we're going to say. The whole thing is just, it's madness, man. It is insanity. It's like something out of some kind of dystopian nightmare, like 1984, where these people just get to control every little thing about you if they don't like you, and we're just supposed to go along with it. And I'm just not having it anymore, and that's why I'm upset. And again, if this don't upset you out there watching this, then I don't know what to tell you, man. Then this fight ain't for you, and you can enjoy the tyranny that's coming your way. It's like I tell these Republicans around here, this censorship stuff, this ain't happening in some far off land or some big city or some state like California. It is happening right here in Lawrence, Kansas. And a lot of people, I get it. They're probably happy that I'm being censored. They're probably happy that my group is being censored. They probably are okay with us not going in there and being able to speak our mind. But the thing is, they should be concerned about it, because it will happen to them. It will, whether you believe it or not, whether you like to think it will or not, it doesn't matter. It will happen to you. There is absolutely no reason why they would just, the city commission and the county commission would stop censoring just me and my group. They can just continue on. Anytime somebody goes in there and says something that the city or county finds unacceptable, or they don't like those people, they can start censoring them. And we all should be really upset about that. We all should be kicking up a storm over this. And for whatever reason, we're just not. It's just, everyone around here is so apathetic on the Republican side. And if this don't fire you up, I don't know what to tell you. Just enjoy your tyranny, because it's coming, and it's here, and it's coming. And it's going to get worse. And check out the videos here. I'm going to play those here when I'm done talking here. And I appreciate you checking out this video. I appreciate you checking out my channel, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Any other public comment? Any other public comment?
My name is Dr. Justin Spees. I'm running for Douglas County Commissioner in District 1 as a Republican candidate. I want to go over some numbers with you guys here. These are the numbers on the last day that Trump was in office and how things are today. So on the last day that Trump was in office, inflation rate was at 1.4%. Today it's at 8.3%. That's a little low. Gas was on a national average at $2.39 when Trump was in office. Today it's $3.76. The 30-year mortgage rates were at 2.65%. Today they're at 7.08%.
Dr. Spies, is there some way that we have control? Is there some way that this city commission has control over inflation?
The average rent prices were $1,625. Today they are at $2,039. The NASDAQ was up $13,300.
Mr. Spies, is there some way this city commission has control over the NASDAQ?
Please, Nazi. Thank you.
Is there any?
I'm making
Are
it clear
you
to you.
ready to be
I'm making it
removed?
clear to you that I would like. Can you stop my time?
No.
Why not?
Because so far you
answered your
haven't said
question. I
anything
would
that
like
has
to make
anything to
this a
do with this
proclamation that
body.
The city considered how asinine the Democrats are. So thank you.
This is
And
a
so
non-
The NASDAQ is down 10,829 points.
Again, we have no
Grocery
control
prices
over the NASDAQ, Mr.
increased
Spies.
3.7%. Today it's at 13.5%. The electricity rose 1.5%. Today it's at 15.8%. The real average hourly earnings increased 4%. Last day Trump was in office. Today
It's kind of you to come today, sir, but if you don't have
now
anything
that I'm
in
getting
the last 2
around
minutes.
to the business of the city, the reason why I bring this up is because I stand on the corner and I campaign, and one of my signs says that Democrat Patrick Kelly raised your property
This is a
taxes.
nonpartisan body.
And that I never
Whether
will.
anyone is
I
Democrat
have
or Republican
people
is
that-
not
Can you stop,
relevant.
Nazi?
No, sir.
I'm trying to make my
Our
general
time
public comment.
is the city's
And s-
time.
Yeah.
You must
I'd like to
speak
make a
on items
proclamation. I'd like to make
germane
it a
to this body.
I just did, Courtney.
No,
Can you just hear what
you
said?
have
I'd like
not.
to make this a proclamation. What is going on here? You
Rent
guys can do
and
whatever
gas
you
has
want.
nothing to do with the
gas
city of
pipeline
Lawrence.
that doesn't go through here, and when I'm bringing up
I
stuff
welcome
that
you to
affects
leave
people's
this
taxes-
room, sir.
What's that?
You've been warned.
All right, let's do it then.
Okay.
Let's do it. Why are you shutting me down? I want to make this a
Because
proclamation.
you've yet
of how
to speak
asinine
about
you
a
guys
single
are. Let's
thing
go.
to do
Let's make
with
this
the
a
body.
proclamation. Let's go. So anyway,
Thank
what I
you
was
for
saying is
leaving, sir.
People drive by and they shake their
Excuse
heads
me,
at
sir,
me.
you're finished.
And the reason why I'm bringing all this up is because Patrick Kelly had $55 million that he could have dipped
This
into to
body
decrease
is-
your property taxes. Instead,
Pause
he increased them.
Until you leave, sir.
For what?
We have rules. I've made them
what are the
clear
rules?
to you.
What are the rules, Nazi? What are the rules, Nazi?
Nothing germane
What are
that
the-
you've said so far.
I want it to be a proclamation.
Thank you for
and
coming.
It's germane to you
You're
guys.
welcome to leave.
Nope, it's germane to. He just laid out that I can make this a proclamation. Why aren't you doing that?
You're
Why is that not
welcome to
important?
leave,
Why is
sir.
my idea not important? If I was in here
Because
about
it
a
has
gas
nothing
pipe,
to do
a gas
with the
pipeline that doesn't go
business
through
of
here,
this
then it would be
body.
okay. Is that what you're saying?
You're welcome to leave, sir.
I don't want to leave. I want to finish speaking. You're the
have
same
yet-
person that sat up there and said you
you've
don't
yet
want
to
white
say
people
a
up on
single
boards.
thing
You're
to
doing
do
this
with
because
the
I'm a
business
white
of this
guy.
body.
You're doing this because I'm a white
Goodbye,
guy.
sir.
Clearly, you're doing this because I'm
Goodbye,
white.
sir.
You are a racist. You are
Goodbye,
a
sir.
Nazi. You are exactly what you say we are. You are exactly what you say we are. You are
Thank
a
you for
Nazi.
coming.
Each one of you are Nazis. And you
Thank you for
are the
coming.
Miss Oppression, Miss Suppression. You going to allow this to happen? She is suppressing me coming up here.
We have recessed this body, sir.
Fuck you. You're a Nazi.
Kurt? Yes. We will now return to general public comment. Are there any other people in the room who would like to make public comment?
Hi, my name is Sue Herrick. I have something here that's very germane to city business and probably very germane to all of us because what happened to me today could very well happen to all of you. And I think it should weigh on your minds as city commissioners that if, like I said, if it can happen to me, it can happen to you. This involves the Lawrence Journal-World. Chad Lawhorn, the editor of that paper, is frightened of me. Today I went to his office at the LJ World in person to see him. Put yourself in my place and ask what you would have concluded if upon entering the building, a man in the doorway told you that Mr. Lawhorn was in a meeting and not available till 2 o'clock. And when I said I would return to see him then, this man very snarkily said to me, "Good luck with that." I politely asked why that was said, and he became even more nasty,
Ms. Herrick,
aggressive and condescending.
this body has no control over either of the papers in this city.
There-
If you want to
I told
continue
him I am
interrupting, you will
paying-
also be
I told
removed.
him I was a paying subscriber and couldn't understand the behavior.
We have no control over the paper.
Police were being called. The upshot of it all is that the police talked to everyone and told me that a trespass was being placed on me, so that if I returned to the offices of the LJ World, I could be arrested, fined, or both. Anyone who wants more details can watch the video of this taken by two friends who are with me. The editor of the local newspaper, Chad Lawhorn, is so opinionated, so afraid of another viewpoint, and it might be yours, that he will have the police called rather than talk to a subscriber. That behavior translates, that attitude translates to his publications. The LJ World is controlled by someone.
Again, we have no control over either of the
Becomes
publications
obvious that
in
his
this town.
publication can't be trusted.
Could you speak more about the police interaction you
All
had?
of you, as commissioners, should be aware of him and his bias. Think twice before you consider what's published in the LJ World as reliable information. Thank you.
Is there any other public comment?
And before I start, there are police involved, so please don't interrupt me. There's something sinister going on in Lawrence, Kansas. Example, a shocking and unexplainable incident occurred today at LJ World. Unfortunately, the occurrence is not unique, as we've endured many instances of being treated with bias, aggression, and violence. Today, two of us joined Dr. Spees to go to LJ World so he could talk with Chad Lawhorn, editor, and ask questions about an upcoming LJ World publication which will highlight the 3 Douglas County Commissioner candidates. We go with Dr. Spees to everyday events like this because without fail, someone calls the police, so we have to video everything. This year, LJ World decided not to print the word-for-word responses in the Q&A section, breaking precedent from previous years where they published candidates' verbatim answers. It's clear they are doing this because they know Dr. Spees will have clear, concise, and commanding ideas for the future of Douglas County. The other 2 candidates will not. To sway the election, LJ World will create a story.
Did you have any comments about your police interaction?
To local readers. This is the same thing the county and city commissioners are doing by limiting public comments that have become uncomfortable for them. Today, LJ World, a staff member, greeted us at the door with an ugly attitude and clear dislike for Dr. Spees and us. We have never met this person before. He became increasingly agitated while talking to us. I made a comment that he looked angry because his lip was quivering. He then came at me with a shaking fist, and I felt threatened. Dr. Spees immediately called out this person and addressed the escalating aggression. An assault charge against him will go to the Lawrence DA. LJ World staff proceeded to call the police for reason unknown, so we awaited for their arrival. LJ World ended up trespassing all 3 of us for no reason, and one other officer was awaiting a call back from the strip mall owner, Cherry Hill, to ask if they wanted to trespass us from the entire strip mall. It's beyond me why the cop would go out of his way to ask the owner of that mall if they want to trespass us. The cop obviously didn't like us either because he was condescending and refused to answer basic questions. I told the officer that it seemed he was trying to make our lives more miserable, and soon we won't be able to do any business in Lawrence, as this isn't the first place to trespass as conservatives, just because they don't like us, I guess. It's not because we're breaking rules or laws. The officer's solution was that if we were trespassed and we needed to renew our driver's license, we could just drive to another county to use their DMV. In the city of Lawrence, Kansas, those who don't like our views are repeatedly protected when they discriminate against us, while the negative consequences always come our way. Before you know it, this will make national news, so you might want to do what you can to get a handle
Thank you.
on it.
My name is Joe Herrick. I guess I have a question for the commissioners, and that would be, why do we call this public comment if we're constantly being censored? The reason that we don't have any control anymore is because we've completely abandoned our oaths of office and the Constitution of the United States. If you look at the First Amendment, it talks about free speech. The 14th Amendment, you treat all people equally. And we've completely thrown that into the trash. When you say public comment, that means that they can speak anything on any subject that they so desire. Now, most of the problems that we have in this country are because of our government leaders. As an example, let's look at the border. There's been too
The city of Lawrence has no control over what happens at any border. Not Canada, neither Mexico. Could you comment on anything that...
Shut the time off?
No, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what. You have illegals in this town. That's my business. You have homeless in this town that aren't from our county or our city. And the more you subsidize them, the bigger the problem gets. You talked about having funds available to help people pay for their utility bills. You raised something like $3,700 with volunteers, taxpayers. But at the same time, we can spend 100 times that much on a ferry motel out by the police station. And by the way, the citizens voted against it. Is that correct? It's time we get back to the Constitution and treat people like human beings. The only thing I'd like to do is try to get people to think a little bit. That's just like they've known that these masks do not prevent a virus for 100 years. And if you look at the science...
The city has no control over
Well, the
mask
city
usage
has any
or not
control
mask
over anything,
usage.
doesn't appear.
Well, then
We
you
spend
can go
money
to the
like-
state of Kansas and you can talk to those legislators. You continue interrupting.
He said it was a city policy.
Yeah, he did. Told us that.
What's the problem in here? We can't even have a decent conversation.
Time.
Thank you, Mr. Herring.
Well, you took my time.
Thank you, Mr. Any other
not
public
done
comment? Any other public comment?
Do I have any more?
No, sir.
Yes, I do.
Your time is up.
I'm going to take some time that you took away from me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank
I
you for-
appreciate you being
Thank you
here.
for not listening. Thank you for not giving people a public forum. Thank you for being a
Are
Nazi.
you ready to be removed? Thank you, sir.